Howdy friends, Decon from Cinema Candy Company here, and let me be the first to say thank you so much for your purchase of the Stash and Stow kit. This is a kit that we have worked extremely hard on to put together, and we know you're gonna love it. But enough with the pleasantries, I'm sure you wanna get this installed before a job tomorrow, so let's jump right into it. First, let's look at what comes in the kit. The main pieces are your left stow table, right stow table, stash box, and stash box lid. You get your left and right table felt, your stash lid felt, small segment felt, and you get 3 of the large segment felt. 4 transmitter and 6 transmitter antenna pass-through mid divider for the stash box. 1 boom pole spacer, all additional hardware needed to install the Stash and Stow, all the tools you need for installation, including our custom stubby 1.5mm driver that'll be used for customizing the stash box. Before we continue, just take a second to confirm that you do have everything that I just listed. We have our first victim. We're gonna start by basically just disassembling the whole top shelf. Little trick to get any stubborn fasteners out is just some heat. A good way to do that would be if you have a heat gun, a little blowtorch might be good. If you don't have a blowtorch, hey, just like a regular candle or fireplace lighter, just something to get a little bit of heat into there. It'll loosen up that Loctite and let you get that stubborn screw right out. Use the 1/8 of an inch Allen wrench to unscrew the cam buckles from the frame. Use the 5/32 Allen wrench to unscrew all 6 of the bolts holding the tabletop on. Use the same Allen wrench to unscrew the tabletop rails and the side stays from the uprights. All right, we're looking good. We just have these 2 uprights and nothing else. Make sure you hold on to a lot of those parts we're gonna reuse when we put this back together. All right, let's continue. The stow tables are mirror images of each other. You can tell the left and right apart by the left has the pivot body on the left point, and the right has the exact opposite. Now these are designed to stack on top of each other in either order. I'm gonna start giving you instructions on how I assemble my Stash and Stow, but if for some reason you're left-handed, right-handed, you wanna flop the right or left on top, you can do that, just reverse the instructions that I'm giving you. Slide the right stow table down on the right upright, making sure that the notch in the tube clamp faces the back of the cart. Now, if the tube clamp doesn't slide smoothly over the upright, it might be because the 1/4-20 set screw in the tube clamp has worked its way out during shipping. So go ahead and unscrew that a bit and then try again. Approximately 4.5 inches from the top of the upright to the top of the pivot body. Tighten the set screw until the tube clamp no longer can slide up and down on the upright. Be careful not to over tighten the set screw or else the pivot body might not rotate smoothly. If the stow table does not rotate smoothly, just simply back off the set screw until it rotates smoothly while simultaneously preventing the clamp from sliding up and down on the upright. Go ahead and close up the access hole with a supplied slotted head set screw. These are completely cosmetic, so make sure you don't bear down tightly on the inner workings of the pivot body. Great, your stow table is ready to use. Go ahead and cycle it through a few times. It's gonna probably feel stiff at first, but as you use it, it'll wear in and feel fantastic. Installation of the second stow table is pretty much the same as the first one except for the first couple of steps. First up, remove the antenna riser. The screw heads can be located on the inside of the cart. Locate the antenna riser spacers. Note one of them has a flat machine spot on the top. Place the machine spacer on the top screw. Go ahead and reinstall the antenna riser. Now we can install the left stow table. Measure approximately 3 7/8 inches from the top of the upright to the top of the pivot body, or whatever gap you feel comfortable with between the 2 table pans. Unlike the right stow table, you'll actually have to open the left stow table to access the set screw. The indexing actions for the stow tables is supplied by these spring-nosed pins. If the open and closing action ever feels too stiff, it could be that these are set too high. You can back them off slightly to get a little bit smoother of an action, or if for some reason you wanted to turn indexing off completely, you could back them all the way out. You can see the antenna spacers provided enough clearance to raise and lower the risers. We also need to provide a little bit more clearance for the boom pole holder. So go ahead and unscrew the boom pole clamp and grab the longer supplied hardware that came in the Stash and Stow kit along with the boom pole spacer. The actual spacer block is not symmetrical, so make sure that you line up the hole so it goes in correctly. If you're having a hard time, maybe flip it around. Go ahead and screw that all back together, and you're ready to rock and roll. Hey, you're doing great. We're almost done. Let's go ahead and move on to installing the stash box. Using the original screws that you took out of the Super Zuka, go ahead and install the drawer assembly to the uprights. Using the flathead screws supplied in the Stash and Stow kit, attach the tabletop rails to the drawer hangers. Using the socket head screw supplied in the kit, go ahead and install the stash lid. Just make sure that it is flush with the top of the tabletop rails. All right, we can go ahead and install the tabletop. You can see that this piece is not symmetrical. The one with the longer gap goes towards the back. Last thing, we can install the cam buckle. Just go ahead and screw it right back in with the same hardware you took off. Well, there you go. Congratulations, you have a brand new Stash and Stow setup. That wasn't so hard, was it? Hopefully not. So just a few notes about the system. Obviously, I already said you can run the stow tables wherever you want. They're meant to be able to slide up and down. If you want to run them low, you can, whatever. Excited to see how people end up using these. One little note that we actually did figure out on this particular build was that it seemed like one of the, this is an earlier model of the Super Zuka, and I think that they ended up powder coating the uprights versus anodizing them, which actually it's a finish that's a little bit thicker by just a few thousandths of an inch thicker, but it makes a difference, and the tube clamps are actually having a hard time sliding over. So we did make some adjustments to allow for that, some tolerance to allow for that, but if you do have any issues, make sure you reach out and we'll get that fixed up. But all the ones that are going out, they shouldn't have that problem. We've tested them and they should be just fine. Other issue that you might have, which is a really, really easy fix, the stash box itself, if it looks like the top of the stash box is going to make contact with the bottom side of the tabletop rails or even the drawer lid, it might be that it's just a little bit out of adjustment. We try to get these perfect right from the factory, but it doesn't always happen. So if you pull it out, you'll see two screws. The forward one, if you loosen that with a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench, that's actually what adjusts the tilt, and that's probably what the problem is. If you just unscrew that, you can adjust the tilt to get it perfect. Oh, and then also there are the two screws that hold the actual drawer slides to the drawer hangers. You'd have to open up the drawer like this and open up your stow tables like this to actually get access down under there. If you loosen those guys, you can actually move the whole entire drawer in and out. That would be if this isn't becoming flush with the forward face, you could push it in to get it a little bit more flush or pull it out to make it a bit more proud. Oh, and then I guess show you guys how we can adjust it will really customize the stash box. So all of the dividers are held in by these 2.5 millimeter screws. I'm gonna go ahead and take my 1.5 millimeter hex head screwdriver and start unscrewing these guys so that we can go ahead and start customizing our layout to our needs. This is definitely something you can do on the fly. The one thing I will say is be very careful. These screws are tiny. I like to keep them inside of the rail and put them off to the side so I don't lose them. But once we got them out, you can actually start pulling out these cross dividers here. That's kind of the first step to customization because these are actually what keep everything together. The middle divider is just kind of off on its own. If you don't have any cross dividers in, this would fall out. So you got to have at least one cross divider. But if we pull that out, we can pop over to maybe using our 4 transmitter pass through and popping that guy in because maybe we want to throw some transmitters in here. We'll take one cross divider, pop it back here. Take our next cross divider and pop it over here. That's looking pretty good. So now you can see our transmitters are able to just kind of nest nicely right in there, just like that. Of course, there's another space here for another 2 transmitters. Then you have these nice little spots back here for any kind of other GAC you want. Let's say that you want to have some smaller spaces back here. Well, there you go. You can add another cross divider right in there. Now you have 4 segments. The cool thing about this shape and how we designed it, this is the 6 transmitter design if you want to do all 6 transmitters. But the cool thing about this size and that shape is you can actually throw a divider right over that. So if you only wanted to use the, just be able to have 2 transmitters in here, you can easily do that. And now you actually kind of have these longer troughs instead of actual, segmented parts. So that's kind of nice. There's so many different configurations and how you can do this, whether you're using the, the 6 transmitter, 4 transmitter, or the standard, tall middle divider. I'm really excited to see how people use this because I think there's just a ton of different combinations. Last thing would be probably just about the felt. they're all adhesive back. You've got some nice strong adhesive on the back. You just go pull backing off and you can stick it wherever you want. We didn't end up putting this on from the factory because we just didn't know first how people were going to configure their stash box, because that kind of depends on how you're going to put the felt down. And also just preference. You know, I know that like my buddy Richie that I built the first one for, he actually he's not about the felt. He likes just that beautiful, pristine, anodized aluminum finish on the stow tables and stuff. So he just wants to run them like that. I know on my cart, I run the felt. I just think it's really nice when you put things down on it. It doesn't make any noise. So, you know, to each their own. Yeah, all right. I think that's it. So I guess I would just say, you guys, again, I'm Decon, founder of Cinema Candy Company. I'm your man. If you have any questions, concerns, whatever it might be, always just feel free to reach out. Email's decon@cinecandyco.com. So shoot me a line and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. And then also cine_candy_co on Instagram. Give us a follow, and you guys better be tagging us in some posts. I want to see these things out in the world. I'm super, super hyped to see this on everyone's carts and all these different sets and whatnot, and see, I don't know, just how you guys use them. So, yeah, all right, I think that's it. Thank you guys again for the purchase, and I'll see you on the next one.